Hello everyone, and welcome to another TechHub training video solution. This is for challenge 205 in Python, specifically pandas, for Widget Wizard. So to just get started, for this we have about 8 different suppliers, and we're trying to figure out their reorder points, economic order quantity, order amount, average stock, orders made, units ordered, and then with those numbers compute our totals over here to ultimately find and figure out which one of these suppliers is going to have the lowest cost and be the best supplier choice for us. So we have our given data here and our given numbers there. So first thing, we need to go into a Visual Studio or any kind of software that allows us to code Python. And we're going to import pandas and NumPy. NumPy allows us to do numerical transactions with our pandas data frames. So we're going to load the file in. The data given to us is just called challenge205_data. And then we're going to, once we have it loaded in, we're going to put it into a pandas data frame done here. So what I did first is I didn't want to have any confusion when I was calling these columns, so I decided to just make sure that everything was named correctly. So I put df.columns and named every single column exactly how I wanted it and how I think it appears on the Excel, just so that there's no confusion. Then I created new variables and set them to the given numbers that we had: our safety stock, annual carrying cost, daily demand, and annual demand. So the first thing to do is to check if any of these values are non-numeric. So what I did, and this is for the minimum order. So I called it the minimum order, and then I put errors coerce, which will basically say that if it's not a number, if it can't translate it to a number, then it'll just give an NaN, which stands for not a number. And then I assigned every single number to be a float. A float is a data type that allows for decimal places. So then I needed to do that for all the other columns. We know all the other columns are numbers as well, so I just assigned them to be a float. So then the major portion of this assignment is figuring out those columns that we need. So the first is reorder point. So reorder point is done by taking our lead time column that we have, timesing it by our daily demand number, which is 20 up here. And then after that, adding our safety stock 200. So this will call the lead time column, and then it'll go down for each row and assign it to the reorder point column right here, and fill it in. And then our next one is our economic order quantity. Okay, so numpy.ceiling just is a rounding function, so it'll round up for us if we have a decimal point. And then np.square_root is obviously our square root. So you have 2 times the annual demand times this cost per order column, and then divide it by the annual carrying cost, and then take the square root of everything. So much like the reorder point, this will go through each row in the cost per order column and do that calculation and assign it to that specific row in the EOQ column. Then we go to order amount. What I did for order amount is I did the df, and so I called those 2 columns. And then a new thing here is dot max axis equals 1. So what this will do is it will take the larger of the EOQ or the minimum order. So it'll look at each one of those in the row and take the larger. And then the clip maxes this out so that if one of those two numbers is larger than max order, it won't matter. It will assign that number to be just max order. So you can't go above max order. It's the clip or the max. So the first is it will take the max of the EOQ or minimum order, and then if one of those numbers is greater than the max order, it will just assign it to be the max order, so that you can't have a number greater than max order in either one in the order amount column. Then you needed to do the max and min. So for the max stock, I did the column order amount plus the safety stock divided by daily demand times the column lead time. So this will go through each one of those. And then the min stock, pretty similar, but it will do reorder point minus our daily demand times our lead time. And then average stock, I took the max stock plus the min stock and just divided by 2 and then assigned it to that row. For orders made, I did our same ceiling function, which will just round, so we get a good whole number rounded up. And you did annual demand divided by the order amount, units ordered, orders made times the order amount, right there. And so then once we have all those columns, we can get over into our total costs. So we need our total carrying cost, total order cost, total unit cost, and our total cost in grand total, which is just all those first three added up. So our carrying cost is this average stock number that we just calculated previously times our annual carrying cost. And then our total order cost is just our orders made times our cost per order. Total unit cost is units ordered times cost per unit. And then for our total cost, we add all those up. So now we have those top columns filled in. So that would be these are all filled in. And now we need to call something that will give us our answer for which one of these 8 suppliers is the cheapest, or which one of these total costs is the smallest or least great. So to do that, we're going to set a variable best supplier, which is our cheapest, and we're going to use a .loc. So this is an explicit demand that we'll call our total cost, and then we have our minimum function. So what loc will do is it will look in the total cost column and it will find the minimum number, and then that minimum number, it will go on the same row, and I called the supplier column. So it will keep in best supplier the name of the minimum total cost amount. So the supplier call right here tells which number it should keep in supplier after it has done the minimum. So now we know the best supplier is a string. And then all we need to do is just display our results here in Visual Studio Code. So I just wrote print supplier cost analysis, and then I wanted to print out our new data frame. Best way to do this is just I did it using a toString function and then the index false. So this will get rid of all the indexes of each row and columns to make it look better. So when you do that, this pops up, right? So you have your supplier cost analysis, which I called, and then you have all of your numbers that you have with your total cost right there. Our total cost at the very far right. And then I did another one where I said print best supplier choice, and we've already figured out what our best supplier is from this from when we identified it earlier. So I just said best supplier choice, and from that we get our best supplier choice to be Mary Widgets Corporation. Thank you guys for tuning into this video, and hope this helped.